Welcome to Echoes of the Unknown, the podcast where we'll be exploring some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. I'm Jack Montgomery, and today we're digging into a case that has haunted Chicago for nearly 7 decades: the tragic murder of teenagers Barbara and Patricia Grimes. It's a story of innocence lost, strange sightings, and a mystery that refuses to die. The disappearance and murder of the 2 girls stands as one of Chicago's most haunting unsolved cases, leaving a trail of questions that have persisted all these years. The story begins on December 28, 1956, when the teenage sisters, Barbara, 15, and Patricia, 13, headed to the Brighton Theater to watch Elvis Presley's Love Me Tender, a routine outing that turned tragic. Their enthusiasm for Elvis, a cultural phenomenon of the time, would become a poignant detail in their story, highlighting the innocence of their last known moments. The girls' journey should have been simple: a 1.5-mile walk to a familiar destination in their McKinley Park neighborhood. Their mother, Loretta Grimes, expected them home by midnight, but as the hours ticked by, maternal concern evolved into full-blown panic. What initially seemed like teenage rebellion, perhaps staying for a second showing of the film, quickly escalated into one of Chicago's most extensive missing persons investigations, mobilizing law enforcement resources across the city. What makes this case particularly intriguing is the wave of reported sightings that followed the sisters' disappearance. Multiple witnesses came forward with accounts of seeing Barbara and Patricia in various locations: local diners, public transportation, and even a hotel in Tennessee. A classmate reported seeing them in a car with an unknown male driver. These sightings, combined with anonymous phone calls to their mother claiming knowledge of the girls' whereabouts, created a web of leads that ultimately led nowhere. Each reported sighting raised hopes, only to dash them when investigations proved fruitless. The case took a devastating turn on January 22, 1957, when a horrified driver discovered 2 frozen bodies, soon determined to be those of Barbara and Patricia, beside a road in Willow Springs, Illinois. The location, approximately 20 miles from their home, raised immediate questions about how the girls ended up so far from their neighborhood. The discovery transformed a missing persons case into a murder investigation, but the evidence was frustratingly inconclusive. The remote location suggested the perpetrator was familiar with the area and deliberately chose this spot to dispose of the bodies. The medical examination revealed peculiar details that have puzzled investigators for decades. While the coroner determined exposure as the likely cause of death, the bodies told a more complex story. Patricia's face bore marks resembling small punctures, while Barbara's body showed signs of a struggle. These details suggested the sisters might have been held captive before being abandoned in the freezing conditions. The lack of obvious trauma, such as gunshot wounds or stab wounds, made determining the exact circumstances of their deaths even more challenging. The investigation produced several suspects but no conclusive evidence. Edward Bedwell, a drifter, initially confessed to the murders, but later retracted his statement, claiming police coercion. His confession and subsequent recantation highlighted the pressure law enforcement faced to solve this high-profile case. Another suspect, Charles Leroy Melquist, was later convicted of a similar murder but was never charged in the Grimes case. The investigation was further complicated by an anonymous phone call to Loretta Grimes after the bodies were discovered, with a male voice cryptically stating, "I know what happened to your daughters." The case generated numerous theories about potential motives and perpetrators. Some investigators believe the girls fell victim to a local predator who knew the area well enough to avoid detection. Others suggest that multiple perpetrators were involved, possibly holding the girls captive before their deaths. A more speculative theory links their murders to organized crime, though no substantial evidence supports this connection. The variety of theories reflects both the complexity of the case and the lack of definitive evidence pointing to any single explanation. The passage of time has done little to dim the mystery surrounding the Grimes sisters' case. The Chicago Police Department continues to receive tips, indicating the public's ongoing interest in solving this tragic puzzle. The case has become more than just an unsolved crime. It represents a pivotal moment in Chicago's history when two young Elvis fans left for a movie and never returned home. Their story continues to resonate with new generations, serving as a reminder of the vulnerability of youth and the enduring impact of unsolved crimes on communities. The Grimes sisters' case remains particularly compelling because it combines elements that continue to resonate: young victims, mysterious circumstances, and the frustrating lack of closure despite extensive investigation. The various reported sightings, the strange marks on the bodies, and the anonymous phone calls create a complex narrative that has defied explanation for almost 70 years. The case also highlights the limitations of forensic science in the 1950s, when investigators lacked modern tools like DNA analysis and advanced surveillance technology. This tragic story serves as a stark reminder of how even seemingly routine activities, like two teenagers walking to a nearby movie theater, can lead to devastating outcomes. It also underscores the challenges faced by law enforcement when investigating crimes with limited physical evidence and conflicting witness accounts. Despite advances in investigative techniques over the years and continued public interest, the truth about what happened to Barbara and Patricia remains elusive. Their story serves as a haunting reminder of one of Chicago's most enduring mysteries. The case continues to generate discussion and speculation, with each new generation discovering the story and attempting to make sense of this tragic chapter in Chicago's history. Despite decades of investigation, the murder of Barbara and Patricia Grimes remains unsolved. What really happened on that bitterly cold December night? Were they abducted by a stranger? Did they run into someone they knew? And why were their bodies left so far from home? Even today, the Chicago Police Department continues to receive tips, but sadly, the truth remains as elusive as ever. Thanks for listening to this episode of Echoes of the Unknown. What do you think happened to the Grimes sisters? If you have any theories, we'd love to hear them. Reach out to us on social media or email us at echoesunknownpod@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with fellow mystery lovers. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp, because some mysteries refuse to stay buried.